This is KC Sports Tonight.
A receiver going in for a touchdown going to have the ball stripped at the half-yard line.
Well,
Not very often.
Yeah, well, they made championship caliber plays every time they needed to,
Yeah.
and that was a big example of one. That was a great example of L'Jarius Sneed, one of the best, if not, depending who you are, the best cornerback in the NFL, defending a rookie. Remember, that was Zay Flowers. That was a guy we were talking to at the NFL draft here in Kansas City about a guy maybe the Chiefs would be interested in him. So yeah, even just talking about that game gets me excited again. And now we got that coming up for our first game of the NFL season. Couldn't have asked for a better one to kick off what's going to be a really good year.
Yeah, no doubt. And L'Jarius Sneed, happy trails, because
thank you.
Going to have to. That'll be a big storyline in training camp. Obviously, is replacing him in the starting lineup. So on Wednesday the full schedule drops. If history is any indication, we won't have to wait until 7 o'clock for the entire thing. There will be little nuggets, peppers during the course of the day, and we'll be all over it. I guess we're doing a special stream that night. I believe 8 p.m. is what I'm hearing. So we'll have a special KC Sports Tonight to break down the schedule. Jared Kohler is already feverishly going through all the permutations and everything, and the history with every single opponent, all 17 opponents. So it's a thing, and we're looking forward to that, no question. Moving on. So the Royals playing good baseball still.
Yes.
And they take 3 out of 4 in Anaheim. 4-2 the score Sunday is nice for Hunter Renfroe to have that big bases loaded single to drive in a couple against his former team. And the Royals are rolling. They won 5 of 7. They are once again just a half game out of first place in the American League Central, which means a win tonight in Seattle, coupled with a Cleveland loss against the Rangers. And tomorrow we're talking about a first-place team for the first time this late in the season since June of 2016. That's a long time to not be in first place.
Yeah, 8 years almost. And, we're, as you mentioned, we're a quarter of the way through the season. We crossed that benchmark this weekend. So unlike, maybe a month or two ago when we had a small sample size and we were optimistic, now we have an actual benchmark to look at.
Yeah.
And this team is being consistent. And they're doing it in a way where, they're never out of games. They've had a lot of comebacks. I just kind of like the mentality around this team. Scott, you and I have been in the clubhouse a couple times, and they really have that, intangible quality that good teams have that I don't think we saw in the clubhouse last season.
I think it's a couple of things. I think, one, there's belief now.
Yes,
which,
that's the word.
That there's reason for. I mean, every team in spring training thinks, oh, we're going to win this year, but you don't really believe it until you learn how to win, and this team is learning how to win on the fly. So I think that's part of it, and another part of it is, frankly, this is a very young team with just enough veteran leadership, right? Not just Salvi, obviously, is the linchpin, and he's the captain, and he sets the tone. But, you bring in Hunter Renfroe, you bring in Garrett Hampson, you bring in Seth Lugo, you bring in Michael Waka, you bring in Adam Frazier, all these free agents who are legit major league veterans. Now, they're not all A-list players, but they're all good clubhouse guys who have been on winning teams. Will Smith has won 3 straight World Series, right? So these are all guys who have been there before, and you couple that experience with what is still a youthful exuberance of the Bobby Witts and the Michael Masseys and the Vinnies and all the young kids. And I think they've really stumbled onto, I don't want to say a secret sauce. It's not like this has never been done, but it is sort of the magic formula to be successful. And I think that's part of the vibe you pick up on in the clubhouse.
Yeah, no, 100%. And a name you mentioned there, which I also see on our rundown, Seth Lugo.
Yeah.
Having an unbelievably out of this world year. Had a great showing this weekend. What was it? A career high 12 strikeouts?
12 strikeouts yesterday. Yep.
Yeah, I think we were excited about the signing in the offseason, but I don't think anyone could have predicted where we would be right now.
No way. Absolutely not. I'm trying to play with my camera on the fly, but maybe you can't do that when you're streaming. So I'm just going to have to be a little bit further away than you were. It's all good. It's perspective, as we say. Seth Lugo's been a godsend. I mean, he has been, and the rhetoric. Well, the rhetoric. I don't know how many people were paying attention, but before his last 3 or 4 starts, it was great ERA, won games, but he wasn't striking guys out, so it was a little harder, I think, to buy into the, I don't want to say legitimacy, but, how sustainable is this? And then all of a sudden, last 4 starts, I think it's 37 strikeouts and 6 walks or something crazy like that. I mean, he had 12, obviously, yesterday, but the 3 starts ago, I think he had 8 strikeouts, and the one before that, he had 9 strikeouts. So then all of a sudden, his first 4 starts didn't strike out anybody, and now he's missing bats. And I don't know how to explain it, because generally when a guy has 7 years of big league experience, he kind of is what he is. And we've seen Seth Lugo for the Padres, we've seen him for the Mets, and we've seen him as a guy who can be a legitimate, 3.6, 3.7 ERA. That sort of seemed to be his ceiling and maybe the expectation for the Royals this year. Now he's at 1.6. That's not sustainable. I don't care who you are, but it's looking more and more like he is a top of the rotation starter. And I don't know that anybody expected him to be a top of the rotation starter. And I mean that in the broad sense, not just the top of this rotation, which last year obviously needed a lot of help, but at the top of any rotation, the way he's pitching. So, I mean, I think that you can't overstate the difference that he has made to this point in the season.
Yeah, and you signed him to that 2-year deal with a 3rd-year player option. So, bright future
JJ
ahead.
Piccolo, man. Genius.
Oh my, what an offseason. Yeah, I mean, goodness. We just watched these offseason decisions, excuse me, roll in over the course of what felt like 2 weeks. Maybe it was longer than that, but I just remember sitting in the sports office getting email after email, report after report of another signing, and then it kind of culminated with a Bobby Witt Jr. Deal. And kudos to the guys up at Kauffman Stadium, because they had a heck of an offseason, and we're seeing the fruits of that labor play out.
People have focused a lot on the addition of Lugo and Michael Waka, and rightly so. Bringing in these outside free agents to stabilize things. But we should probably talk about the guy on your screen there who goes tonight in Seattle, Brady Singer.
Yeah.
Last year, he was feast or famine, and he was a lot more famine. I mean, the ERA was over 5. There were flashes of the brilliance that we saw a couple years ago during his rookie season, but nowhere near the consistency you need. And now, again, you pointed it out, we're a quarter of the way through, 3-1 with a 2.36 ERA. That's not just good. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And he gets a lineup tonight that, look, Seattle's pitching is phenomenal, but the offense has been middling, and they strike out as much as anybody in baseball. So this is a good lineup for Brady Singer to attack tonight.
You start to wonder when this starts becoming like contagious.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I think it is.
Hitting's contagious. I don't know. I mean, it's just been phenomenal what we've been seeing this season on the mound.
Yeah, so it's fun. We will keep an eye on that game tonight, 8:40, as we continue the West Coast swing. So
Man, I'm glad for that to be over.
Got to stay up late. It's been 4 days. You're already over. They don't go west very often. Probably one more trip to go play the A's and whatnot. But you got to be dedicated. You got to be a dedicated fan. Late night baseball here in Kansas City. Royals and Mariners tonight. That game on Bally's at 8:40. George Kirby, by the way, a guy people were talking about as a dark horse Cy Young candidate prior to this season. He is that good. You see the numbers. He's been up and down so far, but on any given night, capable of being a master. So it'll be interesting. I mentioned this in the tease in the 5 o'clock news. I think this is a sneaky important series. It's not in the division, and it's on the road against an opponent you don't see that often. But this Seattle team is tough to beat in that park. And if the Royals, again, if they can go in, you're looking for benchmarks. Every series is a benchmark, is a measuring stick. And if you can go into that park and maybe win 2 out of 3 against that Mariner pitching staff, again, that just speaks to where we've come, and it is just leaps and bounds from where we were a year ago.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun. By the way, they're at 26 wins now, I think. I'd have to check this. I want to say they were at 26 wins at the All-Star break last year.
That sounds right. Yeah. They were 17 and 38.
Think about that.
They were 17 and 38 at one point, so that sounds about right.
I mean, that's nuts. That is bonkers.
Yeah.
So,
well, we've talked about this on this show before and on air before over on KCTV5 that it's been a long time since we've been talking about games still mattering at this point in the year.
At this point, we're in May.
Which is insane. It's the second week of May. Yeah.
Really,
So,
there aren't many teams for whom games don't matter in May, but we were there. Yeah. No, let's have them matter in September. That's what we're looking for. All right. Interesting soccer weekend. Both the Current and Sporting very busy the last week. I think they both played like 3 games in 8 days.
Yeah.
Let's start with the Current because it's the happy talk.
Yeah. I was wondering which way you were going.
Yeah, you see the record there, 6-3-0. So that's 6 wins, 3 draws, 0 losses. And I made this point last night. There have only been 3 teams in the history of the NWSL that have gone 9 games into a season without a single loss, and all 3 of those teams won championships. So I'm just saying, this bodes well.
Good company. And, coming off 2 shutouts, too, which I think it was Lo LaBonta was talking yesterday about. I think Vladko is more excited about the 1-0 win than he was the 5-4 win at the beginning of the season.
He's lying if he says that, but that's fine.
Yeah, but certainly gave the crowd a bit more of a show. But the sold-out crowd yesterday, too, is 11,500 people on hand on Mother's Day to watch this team. So, it's really cool that the excitement around this team has been fairly consistent, even when last season they weren't that great. They didn't make the playoffs. They kind of had their struggles. So for them to turn this product that has just been, they're number 1, they're at the top of the table in the NWSL. So for them to, make these off-season moves, they had a bit of a roster turnover in the off-season.
Big time.
Yeah, and to be able to perform like they're performing, man, I mean, we could be talking about painting the city teal again. Like, if you remember
that was fun.
It was fun. The NWSL championship season where they made it, they didn't end up winning. Union Station was covered in teal. It really got the buzz going around that team. So I'm hoping we see that again this year, certainly on track. And this team just has it figured out. I mean, they're playing really, really well. And, LaBonta was talking yesterday about their mentality and said, we've had no issues with mentality just in the sense of, preseason, regular season to now. We are locked in every single game. The other team we're going to talk about in a minute.
Less so. And I will say this. You look at the last 2, you talk about back-to-back shutouts. It was 0-0 and 1-0.
Yeah.
So you could look at that and say, well, all of a sudden the shots, they're not scoring the goals. They've had so many shots in both of the last 2 games, and they just haven't found the net. One of the 2, the keeper played out of her mind. And so, I think that, who is this team really? I think it's more the group that we saw scoring 3, 4, 5 goals a game early on than the group that has scored a total of 1 goal in the last 2.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to be fine. And obviously, if they're playing like this defensively, sky's the limit.
Right. There's a reason there's the cliche moniker, defense wins championships. Yeah. Also a good sign for this team, 12 different players have scored goals. The record is 14 in a season.
I think they'll get there.
12.
I like their chances.
I think so, too. Yeah. And, that's...
They get there by Memorial Day.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a good sign of a good team if you're not able to, rely on one person every single night. If someone has an off night, if they tweak something, then that kind of blows up the plan. With a team like this, I mean, those are the dangerous teams that make it deep into postseasons.
And then there's Sporting KC,
Yeah.
which has hit a rough patch. The 6-match winless streak dates back to the end of March. Again, we're talking about MLS games, not the Open Cup win in Omaha last week. What's going on here? Because this is a team that on paper should be pretty darn good, and they just can't seem to get over the hump. It's not like they're losing 5-1. They're not getting blown out. But every game, something critical seems to go wrong, and they lose by 1 goal.
So they kept a lot of the roster that they had last season on that team that made the playoffs and, made it past the first round. They ended up upsetting St. Louis. So going into the season, I think we were fairly optimistic. They had a rough start last year. They started winless through their first 10 games. Then they became the first team in the MLS to ever start like that and make the playoffs. Yep. So you think, okay, this group, they had a rough start, but they figured it out. Can they carry that into this season? And so far, the answer has been no. Again, you mentioned haven't won since March 30th. And if you listen to Peter Vermees on Saturday night,
which you should always do, by the way, when he speaks, you should listen.
Amazing, yeah, really just a funny guy. Very quick on his feet, but and if you haven't listened to this press conference in particular, I would, even just the first 2 minutes, because he really rails into the guys and says, he doesn't like their effort, which is something that doesn't get called out very much in professional sports, I don't think. He talks about kind of the lack of effort on the first goal. If you watch that back, you can kind of see the guy on the back end, run past a couple of Sporting defenders. So I think that raises more of a red flag to me than if they were having, a cold spell or, maybe some injuries on key players or anything like that. Those things you can kind of overcome, but this is something that's got to get turned around quickly.
Yeah, you don't want to wait till August to flip the switch. They were able to do it last year, but that's not the recommended method of operation for sure. But again, I think they're close. Talent-wise, they're fine. This is a playoff team and maybe a good playoff team. Whatever's going on in that locker room, they got to fix it. They got to figure it out, and hopefully they can do it starting this week in Austin, Texas, on Saturday. Okay, and finally, on this streaming edition of KC Sports Tonight, we just don't spend enough time talking about high school swimming. But you did a feature this afternoon in anticipation of obviously a big couple of weeks here locally. Maybe you can fill us in there.
Yeah, first of all, this is the second show, the streaming show that I've done just like kind of damp because I got caught in a rainstorm after rookie minicamp and I've been kind of like in a pool all afternoon. But anyway, yeah, so I went out to Blue Valley West. There's a senior swimmer named Annika Frinzen, and she is committed to Auburn. So in state swimming, you can only do 2 individual races per year. She's done 3 state meets, and she has 6 gold medals. So she's going for 8, which is rarely done. We've reached out to the Kansas State High School Activities Association trying to figure out if it's ever been done before.
Right.
I was talking to her coach, and she said maybe if it has been done, it's been done, you could count it on your hand. So she's going for history here. I talked to her about her eventual goals. She would like to make the Olympic trials. She's kind of on track. Obviously, going to Auburn is a fantastic swim school.
Yeah.
So, just a cool story, and I hope you tune in at 10. Going to be a good one. And you can find out how my throwing my phone in the pool process went, because I did do that today.
Yeah, we were having that discussion this afternoon. The brochure says that if you have a certain level of iPhone, you can actually just throw it in the pool and be just fine.
We tested it.
Most of us would not test that theory out, but Marleah today threw caution to the wind and her phone in the pool, and
I thought it went well. I even sent you the video, like, see,
Like,
it
yeah,
worked.
it looks great.
But I just got off a phone call before I came here, and I go, I'm sorry, I think you're having connectivity
Oh,
issues. I can't really
no.
hear you. And then I hung up, and I said,
Oh, no.
I don't think that was your fault. But anyway, we'll see. Fingers crossed. A bag of rice will always fix it. But great story to 9 and 10. I hope you tune in because Annika is fantastic, and I think this is a name we could be talking about for a very long time.
Yeah, always fun to have local athletes who are Olympic hopefuls.
Yes.
Cool. All right. Well, there you go. That's pretty good. We've run the gamut, right? We got football, we got baseball, we got soccer, we got swimming. That's a big day. I'm going to go get ready for the 6 o'clock sports on
I'm going to go put my
television.
phone in a bag of rice.
Try and put your phone in rice and see if you can salvage it. Yeah, so don't forget, you can always catch this on the podcast, wherever you get your pods. And we'll be back tomorrow. You and me again tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Okay, and I'll see if I can get us the same size in the boxes tomorrow. You know, I'm still learning the technology here. It's a process. But, yeah, thanks, everybody, for checking out KC Sports Tonight. And, again, we will see you tomorrow.